So we've got familiar names around the table. So we're going to skip the introductions again, but just another warm welcome and thank you for staying with us through as we progress through this series of auditor training workshops for the ICS. Let me share my screen and then we can get started. Okay, so this is session 5. As you'll all remember, we've done an intro, we've gone over the auditor's manual, we've done an intro on the platform, just speaking about user profiles, roles, and permissions. And then last week, we went through the approval or validation of component methodologies. And today is session 5, where we will be looking at the validation of a project. So basically what we will be doing is going through on the ICS platform on where to view all the documents that typically go hand in hand with project registration for project validation, and then just viewing all the detailed information, where to find things when looking at project validation, and then all the mechanisms that we or that you as auditors can use for feedback when doing or conducting an audit for project validation. So just to remind everybody, last week we looked at this sort of slide and process flow regarding component methodology, the component methodology life cycle. And when we look at project validation and project verification, you can see the swim lanes here that are similar to those of the component methodology swim lanes. We've still got the project owners, the accredited auditor, the EIC, and then the platform itself. So we'll be focusing on project validation here on the left-hand side. And you can see that this process starts right at the top where the project owner selects a component methodology. And the assumption here is that only component methodologies that have been validated by an accredited auditor or the EIC, depending on which route was followed, will be available in the ICS platform for a project owner to select. The ICS platform then generates a project report template, and the project owners then complete these project report templates and submits it back on the ICS platform. The platform generates the project report, and then here where you can see the audits and approves the project report is where our auditing community comes in. And this is also what I'll be taking you through on the platform, where to go view the project reports, all the relevant information, and the process for basically conducting the audit on the ICS platform. With that in mind, just again a reminder, this is the home page, and we will go straight into the platform from here. Let me quickly switch. So once on the platform, I'm assuming everybody can still see my screen. Simone?
Yes, we can.
Okay, just confirming. So again, platform registration and login will then take you right to the home page where you can log into the ICS platform. I'll go in through this route over here. And again, this is as an accredited auditor, your home page, the auditor dashboard, where you can see the latest validation audits, verification audits, which we will cover on Thursday's session, and here the latest methodology approvals, which we covered last week. Again, just a reminder here on the left-hand pane, a different way of navigating to the different areas on the ICS platform. As auditors, you will be interested in the various either methodology approvals, validation audits, or verification audits. So today we are doing and looking at validation audits. So the first thing that we want to review is we want to look at how this project that has been submitted for validation audit is put together. The auditor wants to check the use of the component methodologies, that they have been applied correctly, and that the information is comprehensive, complete, and relevant. So if we go into this project here, it's an example project that was created. And again, you will find that it's very similar to the functionality on the platform is very similar to that which you saw last week. It's just in a different context, and it makes it a bit easier to navigate if things are at least relatively similar. So the first thing that you would want to do typically is to view the audit. And this is essentially saying, okay, you are ready to get into the project to look at the data. So again, this is similar to what you would have seen last week in a component methodology approval, because the structure of the component methodologies are repeated here, obviously in the project. So you'll see here you've got the project setup information here at the front and the general information here. Then you've got a project details component methodology that was selected for this specific project. There was a baseline methodology selected for this project, an additionality component methodology, and a monitoring and evaluation component methodology. So those are the 4 mandatory component methodologies that a project owner has to select as a minimum to complete a full project report to submit this for validation. And at the project validation point of submission, there might not be any project data yet. So the monitoring and evaluation component methodologies generally come in 2 sections, where we've got the monitoring plan that forms part of the project report, which I will show to you in a moment. And then once the monitoring period starts, if you remember that flow diagram I showed you, which will basically be the second right-hand block, then there will also be data collected as the monitoring of the project actually continues after it's been validated. So from this page here, remember we've gone into audit review. You can have a look at the project to see what the project looks like on the platform itself. So again, here is a dashboard of the specific project, and similar to the navigation from last week, you can continue to the project form from here and download project documents. So I'm just going to go back and show you that the other method to also view this is to go and download project documents from this tab over here, or to go and actually review a section of a component methodology that is part of a project. So there are multiple ways to get to the data that you want to look at and want to review. So it makes it a bit easier to just kind of navigate and find your way around and look at the different aspects of the project that you're looking at. So if we want to just get a general sense and an overview of the project before going into the detailed actual audit of the project, we can go to view project. We can go and continue to the project form, and this will create the structure and everything that the project owner has populated inside the component methodologies that they have chosen will appear here if it is your preference to view this on the platform itself. Again, you can download this as a PDF and also view it in that way, and I'll show you this route in a second. But just as an example, if we click on project description, then here you can see the actual data and information that the project owner has provided. So if you want to start and just get a quick overview, then this is one way of looking at the actual project. And pardon me, you can see here that where the component methodology asked for upload of certain attachments or other documents, it is quite easy and simple to just go from this dashboard or from this section of the project report and just click on download to get the relevant documents. So it's quite easy to keep track of things. Things don't get lost, and there's no duplication or searching around for documents and information. It's all structured in the right place and easy to find. So if we go back to our validation audit, and we say download project documents, and we choose this route, and remember there are many other routes that you can choose, you will find a page that basically looks like this. So when the project is submitted for validation and the monitoring period has not yet started, this top section here will not appear because there's no data. The monitoring period has not yet started. So what you will see at project validation is this list of documents pertaining to the project. So the very first item on the list is always the project report. So if you want to not view it online on the platform, or maybe you want to have a PDF version for some reason alongside the platform, which is actually not necessary at all. You'll see why in a moment. But again, preferences are vast and varied. So it depends on what you prefer. But this basically, you can see downloads the project report for you. And you can then open this in your Adobe PDF browser, and you will see everything that's contained online appears here in the project report, similar to what it appears on the platform. And again, even on the PDF version for uploaded documents and attachments, it provides you with the link that you can just click and it'll download the relevant project schedule in this case, or further information regarding the project statement, whatever is relevant to the project. So I'll just do a quick page through here. You will see this contains the project description, component methodology, and project information, the baseline information. Should get additionality here. And then also our monitoring and evaluation, which will include our monitoring plan. So if we go back to the platform, the purpose of having the audit community here is obviously to audit these projects. So I'm looking at this project, I'm ready to audit. Again, similar to before, you have the sections and the review here on the right, which will take you into the that section of the project report, and it'll show you the information that is populated there. Let me just navigate to a more fleshy one. And while we are here, if you want to, as an auditor, look at the component methodology without the populated data. So if you want to see what does the help text look like, or if you want to try and formulate an understanding for why something was asked, you can also download the component methodology, which will also show you then what the project owner would have seen when they were busy populating the project form. So if we go and look at the project description as an example, you can see here now the data is populated. And again, as an auditor, you have the ability to write a comment over here pertaining to this specific information on the left. And you can then mark it either as approved or rejected with a relevant corrective action request or future action request. And obviously it would be good to, along with a corrective action request or future action request, also tie the comment to that, so that the project owner knows what they should be looking at, or what information is missing or seems out of place, depending on what you as the auditor finds. So these blocks and review actions that you can select is one of the feedback mechanisms that the ICS platform provides you as an auditor to communicate to the project owners. So again, it's section and basically question by question. And right at the bottom, as with the component methodologies, there's an overall comment section where you can provide feedback on things that might not have been addressed in anything in the questions here on the top. Okay, so when we then assume that the audit has been completed and all the different sections have been basically reviewed, let me just write a comment here so that I can also mark some of them so we can see a change in the status. And I'll click save. Save is right here at the bottom right corner. Then we can see here there's one of the questions were rejected. So the whole section of the project report here will show rejected. So this is also a nice way for you as an auditor to keep track of where you have reviewed and where you have not reviewed, and what sections might still need your attention. Once all of this has been reviewed and you have looked at everything and you are happy with your review, then the final action is to then obviously select an audit outcome. And here you can see it's either sent back for revision, approved for registration if everything is in place, rejected or cancelled. I'm not quite sure what the difference between those two are. This is actually for when the verification period or a verification has occurred. If I'm correct, my colleagues can help me here if I'm incorrect. But
Serena,
also, yes?
I thought it was for if within the project there is a meter that's a smart meter and it was connected to the Internet of Things, but I also could be wrong.
I do think you are right, and we'll make sure that by Thursday we have an answer for that. We'll just confirm, but I do think you might be right. And the other thing that's obviously also important here, you can see there's the attachment of the assurance statement. So this is just, again, a place to manage everything in one area, and there's a log to keep track of documentation. The assurance statement is attached, and then it's simply a matter of submitting the findings. Then when we look at our validation audit, here is one that is already approved for registration. You can download that audit attachment, which is basically that statement that I just showed you would be attached, and also download the auditor's comments. So again, this download will open a PDF document that contains all the comments for this particular project alongside the actual project information. So it's a very neat and structured way of looking at the audit comments and feedback in the relevant place. So it's a handy way for both the project owners and auditors to look at comments and feedback and the actual audit. So this was a project that went very smoothly. You can see there are no comments and everything was approved. But this is obviously just as an example to show you what the outcomes look like. So this is basically the gist of it. So it's really, we would again like to invite you to register on the platform. We will be uploading a whole suite of component methodologies, and hopefully then pretty soon we'll have some projects registering on the platform as well. So it'll be great to have some auditors in the platform getting familiar with it once we have projects that are ready for validation. Next week or Thursday, we'll go through in detail where to find all the monitored data and how to then also look at a project from a project verification point of view. And there it becomes very interesting looking at the data side of things, and when there's maybe an IoT connected device and there's things like calibration certificates. So these are also items that you would typically find on that same page that I showed you, where you basically look at all the project data. So this will be an expansion of this page, basically looking also at the data and results and everything connected to your monitoring periods. I'm going to pause there and just hear if there are any questions, feedback, or something that the team might want to add. Nothing, all quiet. Essen and Hava, I'm going to pick on you. Okay.
Yeah, this is a fast track of the documentation and your platform. I think we have to get familiar with it. We need the practice first to ask questions. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Essen. That's a valuable comment. And maybe we can make a plan internally to provide a practice playground for the people that might be interested in getting familiar before they start working in the live platform. So I'll definitely make a note that we look into something like that. Something in the chat. Oh, thanks, Simone. So I think with that, then we'll see you again on Thursday and dive another level deeper.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Serena. Thanks, Simone.
Bye.
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 Bye.